Hi guys, it's Natalie here. I'm back with a podcast with Emma. Emma's a big City fan. She does the Man City women's fan cast, and I've talked to her a few times about United, City. I've talked to her. She talks to like different people. I know you've seen you on Rodney's a few times. Seen you on that West Ham one.
Yeah, doing the rounds.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we've got you again, so I might get you on again. Or if you know any other City fans are watching now, like, listen, all the Barmy Army talk about is just the game upcoming. So if anyone ever wants to jump on that, they can do. Emma, I just want to talk about, obviously you're with the OSC, you part of the OSC, yeah, and you do things. What's it like being, I don't want to know from a different perspective, your perspective, how's it being in an official supporters group? What kind of things do they give you that say if you weren't in it, you wouldn't get, or how do you think about it?
Okay, well, to be honest, I've been a part of the official supporters group now for about 3 seasons. Been following the game much longer, but it wasn't really until a few years ago that I really started consistently going along to games, and I started to get involved with that. Obviously, the Man City women's supporters group are quite active on social media, just like yourselves. They're there at match games, and they're usually really good for, if you need any assistance or any advice about maybe, you haven't been to an away ground before, they're always there for, getting the information and getting advice, best ways of getting there. And obviously, like yourselves, arranging travel as well, which is really great for fans that really struggle to get to games. So it's great to obviously travel in a group, isn't it? And to get as many games as you can. So that is really encouraged as well.
No, like the buses for us is so important. I mean, God, it's hard, it's difficult doing it, running it. But it's all about the buses.
Don't always go to plan on the day, but
an article come out, and we had Christian, he's from the Sportsman, and he was a Man United correspondent last year for Goal, and now he works for the Sportsman, just Manchester correspondent. And the day when he was supposed to get on our bus, I was ringing up like, where is it? Because I usually get picked up. I thought, where is it? And it was told, you're right, Gary. Just I've seen a little people going to drop in, Emma. So I was told the bus isn't running. It's broke. And I'm like, you what? It's in Normanton. It's broke. It's not moving. And I'm like, yeah. Because we do a pickup from near Old Trafford. So I thought, it's in Normanton. What's going on? And oh my God, I was ringing this guy like, I'm really sorry. This never happens.
Yeah, it's mad. And that's it. Like, you kind of feel this responsibility, don't you? Because you've got a bunch of people wanting to get to the match, but ultimately there are things that can go wrong that are out of your control. But it's obviously trying to put them things right, and you and other people, like the supporters groups and other supporters group, they go above and beyond really to sort of make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about it privately, or if United do help us. We have chats with them. They give us information. Like, for example, I was told about the Chelsea game being on the 12th, I think, before it came out. So I sort of let everyone know, like, this is the day, the day, book it off, get yourself ready. And then obviously a couple of days later, then they put it out officially. But, that just helped us knowing what's going on. They let us know before we'd even set off for Birmingham, they let us know. So is that the kind of relationship that they have, or do you not?
Well, as far as what's communicated to those on the committee, I'm not sure. So a lot of obviously the information that I see is firsthand. It's usually whatever gets put out on Twitter, and then that sort of goes viral, if you want, or whatever. People obviously spread the word and try and get the message across. If the game's called off or whatever, obviously we all suffered from the the storms a couple of weeks ago where all the games got called off. There were a lot of fans traveling that weekend to get to games. There were a lot of fans that traveled before, the day before to get there as well, which is really frustrating. But it's one of those things that is obviously out of really everyone's control, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, when it was announced United had a team, what was the reaction from City, the blue side? of Manchester.
I can't speak for everyone, but I was really pleased. I mean, it's something that needed to happen. I mean, you know, you've got United is a big name, and I think having more teams such like United, such as Tottenham, you know, in that league, it makes it more attractive, and it makes it more what's the word? I can't even think. It's just got competitive. Yeah, it's a simple word. Competitive, and that's what it's brought this season. It's become more competitive, and that's not just at the top of the table. That's right the way through the league, and I think that it was calling out for it, and I'm glad it's happened.
Was there a bit of no, obviously, because obviously, you know, it's good. You know, you're thinking, oh, you know, we're going to play them probably next year. But, you know, what was there a bit of spice? Was there a bit of needle, or was it just us that were like, yeah?
Well, to be honest, I mean, like the first season when you were in the Championship, when the draws came for like the cup,
we fought,
I was just like, come on, bring it on, I'm ready, I want it, you know, let's have it. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. It obviously wasn't until like the first day of the season where we met for the first time professionally. And it was a great day out. I mean, to have it hosted at the Etihad, to have that really 30,000 strong crowd there as a spectacle, as it was great. I mean, it was, and for United's first game in the WSL, it was a really closely fought game as well. I mean, it certainly wasn't a walkover from City's point of view. And United gave a really good account of themselves and actually proved that, we're here and we belong in this league. So it was, fair play from them, really.
So, I mean, I remember there's a few wind-up merchants. I don't want to call them that because I think people do, and I think there was a little bit of a needle I saw, and people were like, "Oh, United, they're in the Championship and this, that, and the other." But I think some people had maybe poked it first, and they were like, "United, we're always going to beat them. We're Man City. You're just come now. You're the new kids. We're going to teach you." And obviously, you did win that game. But what was that? Did everyone think? Because I know we spoke, didn't we? But what were the views of everyone? Did people think, no, we're going to win 3-0 and stuff?
I think, with City, they've obviously got a good record, in terms of games won. And there is almost, with some fans, not all fans, but an expectancy that every game that City play, they're going to go out and get a result, and they're going to get a good result. I don't look at it like that, in all honesty, but and I think with obviously this season in particular, the progression that we've seen, the quality, the improvements that have come from right across from top to bottom, I think it shows that the league's going in the right direction, because it shouldn't always be about like the top two, the top three. There are teams really pushing now, and like yourselves, Everton, they've shown real intent this season, and they're building, they're building well, and they're building strong teams. And I think give them a season and over a season, they're going to be up there wanting to compete at the top of the table. And I think that's really starting to show. Whereas Reading, they've always sort of been consistent. We've not been, but Everton, United, you can really tell that they're putting the money in, and they're putting the investment in, and I think it will start to show.
No, Gary, I've just seen a little comment. Listen, we're going to talk about that. But he's saying, what do you think about playing in big stadiums? Do you think it's good or bad? I know you just talked about City, but like, what's your general consensus of it all with everyone playing? I've got my opinion, and we'll say it.
All right. I think for the occasion, for what it was, that opening day of the season, I think with the hype and the expectation around that game, given that obviously we had the United in the Championship, and it wasn't sort of meant to be that season, we didn't get to meet. I think it made it more of an occasion. I think it was great to have it in the Etihad, but I'm not a fan of that being a reoccurring thing. I think the important thing for us is to fill, like probably you guys, is fill the academy, fill the LSV, and get those fans returning.
Definitely. And that's what I'd say, Gary. I mean, I know people are saying, oh, why is it not at this follow-up on, why is it not there? Why is it not there? And I know there's a big push from the FA to put it there.
There's also a disadvantage to it though as well, you know. I mean, playing in big stadiums, I mean, you know, it can be quite overwhelming for young players that aren't used to it. I mean, you know, for the older players, probably like Steph, Jill, you know, they've been used to playing in front of big crowds. But, you know, I think there's almost, you know, an unsettling aura about it as well, you know, getting out on the pitch and feeling that. And, you know, and I think we saw that actually, that was evident in the performance on the first derby.
I just think, let's, like you say, fill out LSV. For me, even fill 3 sides of it. We were close, to be honest, with that, with the first Conti game.
Yeah. I was really surprised with the third, like the dip in attendance.
But for me, I know it's not an excuse, but I think it's because there was no men's on. So for me, I think that third one is because they left it so late, because this is what I've heard. The FA were pushing for it to be at Old Trafford. So this is why they've done it on the Saturday again. Compromise, no, we'll move it to the Saturday. So that I know people who have told me that they've lost £300 or over through them moving that game. And they're just moving that game so they can get more games on telly or more people to more games. But I see why they're doing it, but they need to just, for me, they've done it a month in advance now. That's okay. But that week in advance was not enough time, and it paid the consequence of that by not being able to advertise it on a Saturday. You know, when we're still got a video out, Man United, they do a video and it still says Sunday, because we thought we were planning, we probably made that 2-3 months ago, you know, to put out now. And then you're having to change it to a Saturday just so it can go at Old Trafford. And I think if we did have a game at Old Trafford, you might get 40, you might get 50. But it's a 70,000 stadium, so you need it like maybe at 60, even more, for it to be feeling. But it's like you say, are they used to that? And are they used to, I don't know, like, but we went mad when we thought Jackie scored. So are they used to even that? There was probably about, I don't know how many Reds were there, but, you know, probably a large portion were in that away and we're all behind that goal. So, you know, are they used to all that screaming? Are they used to all that kind of rivalry and tenseness? I'm not saying that, you know, like you said, your experienced ones are there, but Matt Johnson's just piped up 30k at Old Trafford would be rubbish, which it wouldn't even be half full. But at City, you've got 50, so it's pretty much full, isn't it? And I know their aim was to get all around the bottom full, which you did, and then you started selling on the top. So, you know,
I mean, I think it exceeded the expectation of maybe what the club had realistically, which was, you know, impressive. When 30, you know, when we got told it was 30,000, we're like, whoa, you know, this is great. Now we've just got to get about 5-10% of them people to come back. Did they? No.
So why? That's what makes me
more
think,
work to do.
Why you do it? Why would you do it? Why would you not trying to be like open up Old Trafford or open up City? It's not expensive if you know. And then what's going to be the long-term consequences? What's going to be the long-term benefits? At the minute, there's not a lot. Maybe maybe that one little girl who went that time, and then she grows up, and then, you know, maybe that was it. I mean, she might come once or twice and want to go more and more. Yeah.
The thing is, as well, it's you know, and I'm sure this would be the same at Old Trafford. It's an opportunity to go to Old Trafford for a tenner a ticket.
Yes.
Okay, and it's an opportunity to go for a tenner a ticket. You know, because there are families out there that can't afford it. You know, because, you know, ticket pricing is so, it's just not affordable, is it, for families?
So I've heard now Real Madrid, the ticket price is about 58 quid. And obviously the
average ticket price, the average ticket price for a home game, and, you know, if you're traveling away, it's different, but for a home game, you know, it's a lot of money. And families, you know, if they want to take their child or their 2 kids along to the game, you know, it's expensive. So it's a great opportunity to obviously go to the ground, watch a good game of football, and you know, taking that experience of obviously going to a mass, well, one of the best stadiums in the world or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, I mean, hopefully now, I know that the England's opening up, I think they will actually sell it. I don't know what price, but they'll sell it out. And for me,
easy.
I think as well that'll be good, but that'll probably get the FA off our backs, hopefully.
Yeah, you see,
football game. It might make them be more on it, but
yeah, I mean, when obviously we went to the LSV, they've already got the branding up, you know, promoting it, which is good. But yeah, that's going to sell out so easily. People are going to go to that. You know, we obviously saw with the game against Canada at the Academy Stadium that you know sold out or was near to selling out. 7,000, something like that. So, you know, for a prestigious competition and it not be a friendly, easy. I think they've made a mistake by downgrading it, really. Downgrading the tournament with obviously lesser capacity stadiums, should I say.
Yeah, no. What was I going to say now? Yeah, definitely. And I think, you know, hopefully, well, let's talk about the games that we've had at Lee. I do want to see everyone's comments, and I will come back to, like, people are asking you what you think about things. I will come back to it, yeah. But what do you think of the atmosphere that Man United fans generate? The rivalry that we have. I think we've got a rivalry anyway. I mean,
the rivalry is definitely building, I think.
Yeah. But what do you think about that? For me, I thought obviously there was more people at the second one, but I thought the third one was really good. I thought it was really good. But what's your thoughts?
Well, I couldn't get to the second one, which was annoying because there's not many games that I do miss, really. And that one in particular was one I was gutted that I couldn't get to. But from my experience of going to the third game, compared to other experiences that I've had at LSV with, you know, just going along as a neutral, was great, and I did enjoy it. I wish that we were sat nearer together, just to bounce off, you know, in terms of like the crowd and that rivalry. Because obviously we were sat in the corner, and there wasn't many City fans there, so it wasn't well attended from our point of view either, because I think the men were playing. So yeah, it was just a bit of a disappointment, in all honesty. I expected better, and I'm hoping this time round it will be.
Yeah, because there's no games, is there?
Yeah.
And I think it will. I think the only reason, I don't know, I think there was a bit of needle aggro. But I love it. I don't not love it, but I just love the whole back and forth. And Chelsea came to our place for the Conti Cup when you played Arsenal, and they were sitting, but more the other side of where we sit. So they were sitting behind Emma's dugout.
Were they segregated?
No, they sort of self-segregated. So they went behind Emma's dugout, and we obviously sit behind Casey's dugout. And it was more back and forth. Yeah. I wouldn't say there was an issue, but there was an issue, and that's what made it sort of segregated.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying. I mean, what's your view on segregation? Not full segregation, but sort of like, because I think there was United fans in there as well. Maybe if it was a bit fuller, like there was more City fans and more United fans in the south, it would have been a bit better.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of creating that atmosphere, I think it would have been, because it was one of them, like, we couldn't hear you couldn't hear us. Do you know what I mean? It was just one of them. But I think I understand the reasons for segregation, but I feel that it would have been better if it was in a different part of the stadium.
Yeah, maybe, and it might come back in a different part. Teething, I think that's why I'd say it. It's all learning, because we were supposed to be going down to where Prenton Park, and they were saying that we were going to get the official away bit. So I think it's behind the goal. And I'm hoping that even if they are,
I hate watching games from behind the goal.
No,
I hate it. I can't stand it.
Well, I will tell you a little story. All of it's a little story, right? The first game we we had a game that was postponed. Don't know if anyone's heard of it. Everyone, United Reds will have. Don't know if you would have heard. And it called off because oxygen. So Charlton, we were playing Charlton in the Championship, and they didn't have any oxygen.
That was last season, wasn't it?
That was last season, and that was the first time we had a bus, and there was 10 of us. Yeah. On a bus, and it got called off 10 minutes into the match, and we were devastated. I was fuming. I was ready. And Casey Stoney, that's why I always say I'm terrified of the woman, because her. No, it was her. I had to look at the floor. I was so scared. She walked past. I thought, I don't know how this man survived. The referee, because he called it off, because he said there's no oxygen. It's off. And she screamed at the ref. She screamed at Chuck. And then she walked past, and I had to look at the floor. I was so scared because I didn't want her to look at me and kick off. That's how scared I was. So anyway, this game gets called off, and it gets put back on later in the season. And so we've ended up growing and growing. So we've gone from a 10-seater bus, and we've got a 17-seater bus. So in this place of like 3 months, we've got a 17-seater bus. And United said, because obviously you went down, we'll cover the bus for the people that, which is nice of them to do that. They didn't have to do that. They did it. So we had this big bus, and we were behind this goal. And we were like, we'll go in the same place that we went last time when there was 10 of us. Obviously, this time there's more of us. More people are coming from London, because there's more fans. And we were behind the bench. And then someone comes over. Casey, she loves you. She loves the song. She loves the flag. She loves everything. But just next time, please go behind the goal, because she can't hear herself think. So fair enough. We always go behind the goal now.
Fair enough.
It's what they want. Everton, I know no one's been to this Walton Hall Park, but the only space that they had for flags was by the benches, and that's actually the space where they put us. But I think the louder ones went more towards the corner flag rather than a bench, and I think more mums and stuff went near the bench, and it was nice, and she could shout her instructions out. But then we were singing, and I did a little crossbar challenge at Everton and fell on the floor. I could hear United fans as soon as I walked towards the goal, so I think we could still be heard in where we were, but Casey could still get her instructions out. So that's why I always...
It's a learning curve, though, isn't it?
Yeah. I always get us behind the goal, because that's where I know that they want us now. But like you say, learning curve, we're always learning. I think as well, like, yourselves, Manchester City, there's Chelsea as well. You've been going a bit longer than us. We're all growing, but, you've probably had your hiccups at the start in a way, and whereas we're having probably problems that you've had already.
Yeah.
Like you're saying about buses breaking down.
Yeah, buses breaking down, unforeseen weather storms and everything. Yeah, it's all happening.
We've not been caught up in a weather storm, and when we've not been caught up yet. Well, I don't want to even say it, in no accident or anything.
No, I mean that the weekend of obviously the storm, the fans were obviously traveling down, and the weather was rubbish, as you know. They were putting stuff out. I didn't make the trip, to be honest. I was sort of traveling back in the other direction, and they were putting stuff up, and funnily enough, not only did they have to contend with the weather, but the bus also broke down on the way. About 10 minutes after they left Manchester, so they had to get another bus and wait. But there's been times where it's been touch or go. There's times where I've got on the bus and not set my alarm, and then had to drive down to Keele Motorway Services and catch up with the bus, and do you know what I mean? But they're all like experiences, aren't they? And things that happen that you look back on and laugh, or you look back on and cry.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as well, like with getting people on the bus, and I don't know how City do it. I don't know if you've got a driver or what, but we've got one of ours driving, and then we've got 2 buses, and then we might have 3 buses soon. So that's how we do it, like a self. They
just get a quote from a local firm and just do it that way. I kind of think other supporters groups, I think they might have their own mode of transport, minibus. But yeah, there's a 3 different supporters groups that follow Man City women. So
yeah, I've got some questions, JB. I've not seen you in a while. sending the love. Emma, how do you think City will deal with losing Nick and Pauline, with Steph and Jill and Ellen getting on? Do you think City will fall behind?
Do you know what? I was actually thinking about this because I spoke to Rodney actually last night, and he was obviously asking me about how I felt about Pauline leaving, and I've actually sort of not really thought about it. Yeah, so I think really when you look back on it, like losing Nick, losing Paulina at this point of the season, it is quite disappointing, really, on reflection. I'm glad that Paulina's been at the club for a few seasons now, and obviously she's found a form this season and I'm really happy for her, to be honest, because she has had a bit of a tough time. So I'm glad that she's moving on, sort of finding her form, really putting in the performances for the team as well. So I'm happy that she's going on a bit of a high, if you like, with everything that she's contributed to the team. With Nick leaving, that came as a massive shock halfway through the season, and no real sign that was his intention, that he was looking to move on or anything like that. So again, a bit of a surprise, but I'm not too worried in the fact that we've got Alan Mann, who's obviously worked with Nick for the last 6 years, since he's been in charge. So if anyone knows this team and can take this team at least to the end of the season, it's Alan. So I'm not too worried about that. It's just more what will happen come the end of the season and looking ahead to next.
Yeah. Do you think, like, end of the season next, where do you see yourself? What do you think?
Well, obviously, at the moment, I would just like to sort of get through the rest of the season now and win whatever games we can and hopefully still be in contention for that top spot. Obviously, it's all in Chelsea's hands, really, with their game in hand. So, but we need to be there. We need to keep playing consistently and getting the results, because you never know what might happen. But I would like to have a good run in the FA Cup now. Obviously, really, that's all we can really do in terms of trophies, unless, like I said, Chelsea do slip up. But I can't see it happen. They've been so good this season. At the start of the season, I honestly thought it was going to be for Chelsea's for the taking, and they've just been relentless, haven't they? So I would just like to have a good cup run in the FA Cup and hopefully get to Wembley.
Yeah, well, good luck to you. I was thinking about coming down for that game, the Leicester one, but I'm still, there's a few options now that have opened up that I might, but don't know, might give.
I don't want to fall victim to an upset of another Leicester upset. So
they're good.
But they did do well.
They're doing well, yeah. Reese Laming, you were on his podcast, he's just saying about us saying before about stadiums. He's saying let the Lionesses sell out big stadiums, and once that happens, then push the clubs to play at their main ground. Maybe, Reese. I think they are selling out though. Like you said, Wembley, now it's Old Trafford. I'm sure there's going to be some games sometimes at other big stadiums, and I think that's being done, isn't it? Middlesbrough, like games were at your place and people were like, why is it, I can't get a ticket. Even games like Middlesbrough, you're selling out of tickets, and Brighton, you're selling out of tickets before it's even been announced, and like they sold out Wembley. I think,
Walsall, I think they had to sell out at Walsall.
Yeah, Warsaw as well. All the lads play like games in Wembley, so maybe the girls should just play at Wembley a couple of times.
It's a whole stadium, isn't it, really? Yeah. So it would be nice. I mean, I think I went along to that game against Germany. I enjoyed it. It was a great day out. There was a lot of families there, again, appealing to obviously to those that maybe can't afford to take their kids along to football games and stuff. And I think it was a really good atmosphere, and a lot of people were talking about it. I think that's all positive in terms of growing the game. But again, it's the hardest thing is getting people back and getting people back through the turnstiles, especially when it comes to sort of like the championship and the Super League.
I see Boas in the group. See Fiona, John. Hi, John. You know, saying the women should come to Carrow Road, but yeah, why not? It's a big stadium. Norwich is a good stadium, but then it's like you say. But then Norwich don't. Well, they have a team in the Southern National League, isn't it? So I suppose if then your club team don't have a big, say, a Man United, or they've not got an LSV, or or like LSV is a bit far out, it is hard. So I don't know whether some effort should then maybe go into. I know Brighton do a bus for their fans, and they've actually increased a lot of attendance. I've been seeing they've been getting like average of 1,000 and stuff. That's good. I don't know what they were last year, but I think that it sounded like that was an increase on what they've had. They're doing quite well, Brighton. Go on, sorry.
Accessibility is a real issue. Obviously Everton saw that as an issue and obviously made the sort of movements to move the ground and move it more to Goodison Park. Is it like within a mile or something like that? So I mean, that's a good move for that. Good move for them. Hopefully that'll play dividends and they'll sort of get increases in attendances as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Was it Reading as well? I think Kelly Chambers spoke out about Reading and they've sort of spoke about how fans struggle to get to Adams Park as well, because I don't remember that being really well to get to either.
Well, I heard a bit that they were looking at playing like actually moving to the Medeski, so I don't know.
I've heard bits. I'm not 100%.
Yeah,
but it is an issue for sure.
Well, maybe I'm not saying that it shouldn't be, but maybe there should be like a little pot of money put aside to make it easier because I know that the FA do help when promoting the games. So maybe a little pot of money should be put aside. All right, this is a big game for you. Here's a little bit of help. I'm not saying that but some teams do need it. Here's a little bit of help to help your fans get to the games. Accessibility.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we've seen it more with the likes of Chelsea, Arsenal, City that I suppose have got a little bit of disposable income when it comes to getting fans to games and stuff like that. I mean, we've had a couple of buses that the club have put on for us as well, in the past, especially like the Conti Cup that's been in the middle of the week and, really difficult for people to get to, or on a Sunday where people can't get home. And, there's a lot to contend with, isn't there? And there's a lot of factors. And I think, there are gripes with fans, and rightly so. But I think if clubs can do that little bit more to help fans, then that's brilliant. But I don't think a lot of clubs have got that sort of part of money, that disposable income, like you said, to sort of do that as much as they probably would like to.
Yeah. I see John Foster's he said, I'm guessing it's aimed at me this now, but I'll flip it back to you. Okay. If you could take, well, I think it's to you. Well, if you take one City player, if I could take one City player and you could take one United player, who would it be? I'll let you say it first.
Why?
No, come on, I'll say it.
I get to go first.
Right, I'll say it. If I could pick one City player, Ellen White, all day, every day. That's it.
Okay. I'm at the moment probably Leah Golton.
Yeah. So she came back and that changed the game for us. We won that game at Everton easily. Oh, she was just. I've not seen anyone as good as her on the wing. And I've seen a lot of people, and I've not seen anyone as good as her. And, I don't watch all like NWS, but she was absolutely different class the other day. And even when she went off, and obviously she's just getting back into it, she was, I'm just rest and recuperate. But she
went off and then you missed her.
Yeah. She wasn't playing. Yeah, missed her, and then we conceded 2 goals. Yeah. Literally, she does it all.
She's been brilliant this season, and I would like to see her get past her like mental health issues, and hopefully, you know, that call up will come in the future, because I think, you know, she's one of those players that you'd love to have playing for country, because she's so versatile, and I think she's quality.
Can't even express the words how good she is.
Yeah, she's good.
We've missed her so much. Like, I wish she could have played those games. I wish she could have played in the FA Cup versus you. She was injured then. I wish the one that really gets me, because that's when we didn't have Hansen as well. The Conti Cup versus Chelsea. Oh, just seeing her play, and just the little bit of slump we've been in, and then having her back, and it was just like it was normal again. And I think, wow. And I mean, Hansen's back in full training for us. Obviously, you didn't see that first game, but for me as well, I think she's really good on the right for us. And she set it up for Jess to score, to make it 2-0 when we did play you. And I think, you know, she was giving you loads of problems. Walsh ended up getting sent off through tackling her, you know. So I think she was, for me,
we were frustrated.
Bombing are just different class when they're on form, even if it's just 50% of them. Like Leah, we got her for that little bit, and it was just a different game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'd say. I'm gonna go on. No, I want to know, like, my expectation. Do you think this is realistic for United fans then to say it? Because I've heard people say, "Oh, you know, you're just this, you're just that." But listen, I think 4th this year, which we are in. Everton obviously are pushing, but I think we've beaten them. I think Reading will be there and thereabouts, like you say, but they're just consistent. And I think they're going to miss Farah now. But I think for us to finish 4th, and I think even if we finish 5th, it's going to be disappointing. I think a lot of people will be disappointed. If I would have said, we said at the start, a lot of people said between 4th and 6th, but I think now that we've been 4th for the majority of the season, to then lose it, I think a lot of people will think, oh, you know, be a bit up. Well, you know, because 4th and 5th, there's no difference, is there? But, you know, you want to finish as high up the table as you can.
Well, there is a difference, because you know, ultimately you want to be up there. You know, if it's Premier League, you want to start 4th finish, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, I know the league's not as big, but you know what I mean? It still stands for something, you know, because, and it is achievable for United this season. You know, I mean, I know Kelly Chambers, she believes that Reading can do it. Reading can finish 4th, but I don't know. United, I think if you finish 4th, I think that's going to be like a brilliant season for you for a first season. I don't think you could have asked for anything better, really.
And then I think that, well, like you said, I said between 4th and 6th. And I think the fact that we went on that big unbeaten run, you were part of it. We beat you, you know, in the Conti. We went unbeaten in our Conti group. We went on that long unbeaten run. I think it was about 5 clean sheets in a row, or 5 or 6 in a row. And, you know, we probably got a bit too overconfident with it. And, you know, West Ham ended up putting us to the sword. We should have just seen it out for a draw. And I think that's what made us a bit more cleverer. Games like the Reading game, the West Ham game, and even Everton fighting back. I said after being 3-0 up, then going 3-2, usually we would just have thrown it, you know, it would have been finished. We would have lost it. So I think the fact that, I'm sure you've seen that Katie Zellin, the head ball thing as well.
Like, I saw that. Yeah, that was really unlucky. Yeah, that was.
But we could have scored then, you know, we could have scored 2 before that incident. So I think that's, you know, John's was saying take White, you know, a goal scorer. That's definitely what we, and then obviously I'm going to lead on to that, but yes. You know, we think 4th, I think now, you know, like I said, I know Kelly Chambers might be thinking, and they do have a lot of experience, but I think they're going to miss Farah a bit. I
think she has a massive impact on that squad. You know, what she does and what she brings to the team is, you know, incredible, really. But I think, you know, especially with set pieces and things like that as well, she's really able to make them count when they happen. And I think, you know, and that's sort of the kind of player that you want in a team, you know, for those moments when you've got the dead ball and you can, you know, you do something with it and make it count. And I think that's where she's been there, you know, savior, if you like, because she's made a difference.
Definitely. And Gary's just said, hit the nail on the head for me. 4th is our aim this year. Well, I didn't say this year, but next season it's got to be top 3 and challenge for trophies. I mean, one or the other. If we got top 3 but didn't get a trophy, I'd still be very happy. If we got a trophy and but say got 4th, but as long as we're competing and more closer, then I'd be very happy with that too. And for me, I think that's realistic. I mean, the top 3, you can say, yeah, they're miles ahead, and I do believe you're miles ahead of us at the minute. You know, you're 1st, we're 4th. There's about thingy, but it's little games like the Bristol game, like the Brighton game. You know, I think our games have all been competitive, and I'm hopefully expecting these next games against the big, because we've got you at home, we've got Chelsea at home. I'm hoping we can take some points.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're going to be really important games for United. But I think the thing is, like, if we look at last season, like we dropped points against teams like Bristol City. Like, look where they're at this season. Yeah. You know, that team of sort of last season is not non-existent for me at the moment. So, you know, I think, you know, some teams can surprise you in this league, and when you least expect it, you know, and you know, you have to go into every game and respect each opponent, and you know, hope that you can get the result and grind it out. But I think this season for us, our performances have been a lot more confident, a lot more. We seem more cohesive as a side as well, which is something we lacked last season. And you know, we're not looking to like Nikita Paris for goals. You know, we've got a good spray of goals, and they're not just coming through like Ellen White. You know, they're coming through Lauren Hemp, Georgia Stanway. You know, we've got a lot of players contributing, and I think that's the difference for us this season. I think we've, you know, Nick Cushing really looked at that and signed those players that we needed to bring that to our game, and that's what we've done. And I think building on that for next season, hopefully we'll become more dominant. But it's always going to be difficult, because this league is just getting better and better, and like I said, more competitive. So you've always got to look at your opposition and see what they're doing as well.
Yeah, I think definitely Fiona's just saying what we're saying, more consistency. And I think that's it. I think last season, I mean, yeah, we were in the Championship, but I think that gave us a good, you know, people are like, oh, United should have done it. No, I'm happy we were in the Championship, because I think it gave time to players to develop and build the skills and build the confidence. So I think we have gone into games probably a bit too overconfident, thinking, you know, we did this last year, this is what we'll do this year. No, it's not been like that. But I think we've learned throughout the season, and we've built confidence throughout the season, us. And I think last year we had a mix of scorers a lot more. This year it has been on James a lot, and I think on Zellum stepped up a lot on the free kicks, which I think we've needed free kicks and penalties. We've needed desperately. But then we have people like Molly, and she's gone out on loan to Sheffield now, and she scored a lot of goals last year. Jess scored a lot more goals, but she's been playing on the wing. People can say they've been disappointed in Jane because, yeah, she was brought in as that WSL striker, and then if you look at it, Ebony's ended up getting more goals. You can't say it. So that's why people are like, more consistency, clinical. People are saying, I'm going to just drop it now. People are saying with the right signings, we need a striker. Who is that? Bang. Come out.
Jane Ross for me wasn't the one. As soon as you signed her, I knew she wasn't going to be the one.
Listen.
Sorry.
Listen, mate. The minute Ebony went, and then I heard it was Jane Ross. Listen, I just thought, what we're doing, we're playing.
Jane, she's just. I don't know.
Good versus everything, though. I will give her that's the best performance, and she was wearing a captain arm, and she did really well.
Yeah, she needs the right players behind her in order to get the best of her, and I don't think United is that team. Just like I don't think City were that team towards the end of her time at City. You know, she could do so much better, and she has got another level, but she just, as much as you root for her to sort of get there, she just doesn't get there, and it just leaves you frustrated towards sort of like, well, over time, basically. It just leaves you frustrated.
Rodney's in the comment saying on Ross again. Listen, let me just say, I think Casey knows now. Like, I think Casey knew. You know that shot that she had and Roebuck saved it?
Yeah.
And people were saying to me then, and I thought, no, come on, at least it was good. Yeah. People were saying to me then, no, that should have been scoring that. And in a way, yes, she should have scored it. And then we had Arsenal the week after, and I don't even think she rounded the key. I don't even know what she did, but she had a 1-on-1 and she missed it. And
it's a simple thing. She's a striker. She should be scoring more goals.
She's been on the right, she's been on the left, she's been here. We've missed. And my guy Christian has just popped up with the T. Harder 2020. That is what we need. That is what we're pushing. They're talking about it in Germany, our little campaign. Speak it, believe it, receive it. Yeah. It will come. And whether it's actually her, but that is the level that we need to be looking at. Because for me, I look at Chelsea, they've got Sam Kerr, and now they've got Bethany England. They've got Arsenal have Miedemar. You've got White, but like Hemp's popping up and, like you say, doing bits. I know Bremer's going, but it's Bremer that's going, isn't it? Yeah. And we've got Jane Ross. And I just think, no disrespect, I think West Ham were laughing when we came in and paid them some money. I don't know how much we paid them, but must have paid them a bit.
But that's it. That's another thing about Jane Ross. She doesn't establish herself as a player at a team, does she? Like, she was at West Ham for like a season, and then she's moved on, and then she'll probably be at United for a season, and she'll move on. I don't know. She's a striker. She should be scoring goals. Simple. She needs to raise her A game.
Yeah. But listen, I know the only thing, and she probably will go Chelsea harder now. Like, Christian will be slagging me off. But then I look at it and I think, so Chelsea, you'll have Sam Kerr. She's not obviously going to go. You'll have Beth England, who's like the most informed striker at the minute. So why the hell would you sell her? And then you'll have Harder, and then you've got Wrighton, Kirby. Batman.
Batman will probably go. I think
he's going to go then.
Well, I don't know, but I would say Batman.
You've got Kerr, Bethany, and Harder. How are you supposed to get, unless you play them three up front? But then who's going to be the central one? And who's going to be this? And Guru playing the wing. Is Kirby going to go?
How Emma Hayes manages that team and still keeps those players happy is unbelievable.
But then someone was saying to me, well, should we put in a cheeky bid for Beth England then? And I take that all day.
Do you know what? I reckon Batman's a good player. And I'm not just saying that. I think she is a good player. And I said get anywhere near enough game time. She doesn't get anywhere near enough game time. She wouldn't be a bad little signing, that.
I would take her. Take Beth England.
I'd take the Chelsea squad.
I'd take Kirby. But listen, a lot of people, me and my mate, you might see him on the Twitter. He's called Abdul, Galton season, and he's problematic. That's the hashtag we use, problematic. But for me, it's true. It's harder or bust. That's the level that you need to be working at. And I think if we've got Jane Ross at the minute, and like you say, she's not asserted herself. She's not shown. We brought her in. This is our inaugural season in the WSL. Rodney, pipe down, man. United won't sign anyone. Listen, the way I as well see it is we'll sell to buy as well, Rodney. We had a lot of free signings, but people don't understand that we had we bought Lotta. We got money for Alex, but we bought Aurora Mickelson, and we bought obviously Jane Ross. I don't know how much we spent for them, but I know for the goalkeeper, Aurora Mickelson, we spent a lot of money. Not like because we needed a goalkeeper, so we were desperate. So we spent a lot of money. We spent, apparently, this is what I've heard, more on her than Chelsea spent on Gora Wrighton. And I'm not saying, and she's not even. She had 1 or 2 games. This is Aurora now, and we've got 5 keepers now. So we ain't going to be having no 5 keepers next year. No. So that's 2 keepers minimum for me out the door. Sorry. Molly's on loan at Sheffield now. She's not really got any game time. She could potentially be out the door. That's money. Like you just said, Ross, that's money. And I know that people are like, duh, duh, duh. Reece has just popped up. Batchman's going to be a hammer, and I can see that because I can see it, and Simic lives with them as well, so I can just see that. I think that's going to definitely happen. But Gary's saying he thinks, I'll just show it. I don't know if it's going to come up. This is what Gary says.
Oh, this is fancy.
United will get harder. Chelsea are Spain, Birmingham, that means. Yeah, they are.
We can.
With City. There's no FFP to stop him. Well, they might be, but
yeah,
there is supposed to be a salary cap and all that. But
yeah, I mean, salary caps and stuff like that. I'm not like really clued up on that at all. But I think this season in particular has shown like intent. Like we're drawing like some quality names into this league now, and I think come next season, you know, I think we're going to continue to see more of that. I think United need to sign a few quality players rather than just looking for that one, you know, person that, you know, you obviously think the goals are going to come through harder. I just think a few quality signings will make the difference at United, and getting rid of a few, you know, players that haven't really contributed all that much this season.
Well, I think that's what she's going to do. And I've heard rumours that, well, she might go, listen, this is what, JV, this is what I've heard. The first name that's going to come up, Emma, when it comes up, I'm going to put it up. I've heard this one. Which one is it? This one.
Bronze?
Out of contract.
Out of contract. Yeah.
I'm not saying that she won't get a contract.
She'd like to return to the WSL, but I can't see it being United.
Where's it going to be? Back to City, do you think, now that Nick's gone?
I'd take it, but I can't see it happening. I think it's going to be Arsenal.
You think? Even though the girlfriend's up north. She's northern bird.
No comment.
North. Rub it in a bit. Oh, she's saying, I've read a few of her tweets. Not that I look at her, but she's like, I love an underdog. I'm the underdog, mate. And I thought,
I think it would be really challenging for a player of Lucy Bronze's stature to be challenged. To go, you know, she's gone and done what she wanted to do. She wanted to play Champions League football. She wanted to win the trophy. She's done it. You know, she's won everything in France. I mean, she want to come back. She'll want to be challenged. And, you know, given how Arsenal season's now playing out, I think that would be a challenge for her, you know, to make a mark on that sort of team. And she could have a real impact on that squad, I think, as well.
Maybe, yeah. Arsenal. I can't see. I know you're saying 2 or 3 and people are saying 2 or 3. I can't see us if, say, the truth comes and harder and we get the flag and everyone's love it and we all dance around her. I'm planning the arrival. That's how much I'm ready for it, right? I can't see us then going and getting me and Christian already planned it. Don't worry. We're ready, mate.
As long as you're ready.
I can't see us then maybe going and getting like another 2 or 3 like top. I can see us getting like splashing that money down on that one Stella, you're the, you know, we'll build it all around you kind of thing. And then maybe like we've done, get a few freebies. Wait, I don't know who's out of contract, but there'll be people out of contract.
The hardest thing is at the moment, Chelsea, Arsenal, City, they've all pretty much built their squad. And I think, like we've seen, obviously, City had a lot of ins and outs last season. And I think those sort of players that probably have been sidelined this season we'll see more of next season. That's what usually happens for City. In terms of, but we're not necessarily going to go to our to Arsenal, Chelsea and steal one of their players because it's likely that they'll just want to stay at that club because of their success. So I think we're going to be looking more abroad, and that's where, like I said, like we're going to see sort of the bigger names come over, I think, next season, because this league is becoming a little bit more attractive to those sort of players overseas.
I think Tony Duggan. Listen, I don't think she's out of contract, but I'd take her too. I think, well, there's Sarah, I can't even say, Gunness. Anyway, someone. Yeah. This name, the one at the end, this one, the one at the end, gonna da.
Right. Yeah, I don't know how to say that, sorry.
Yeah, no, do I? But I think we can get her. She's a central midfielder. And I think that there'll be, I've heard the Steph Catley, I don't know if she's out of contract or what, but she's the Australians are coming in numbers, aren't they? She's the Australian left back, and then, you know, I think she can play left back, right back, centre back. That's a good, if she is coming on.
Versatile players are really hard to come by. And I think if you find one that's available, they can be a great signing, because obviously they offer that versatility. I mean, if you've got an injured player, you know, they can drop into the fold when you need them, then that's brilliant. And I think that's obviously utilising the squad.
Yeah. And I think, well, a lot of us were upset, United fans, when that Hayley Raso went to Everton, because I think she's quite a good, I think we could have benefited with her. Well, and even though she's not played yet, but she would have been a nice little winger to challenge Hansen and got Galton. And she's only on a 6-monther. I'm not saying but if she does, that's sneak in there after Everton and just say, oh, fancy coming to United. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just thinking of.
Willie Kirk has signed really well. I mean, he's sort of showed real intent as to where he wants to take this team in terms of building it. I think he probably said he just needed one more window to get a couple more in, and then work can really begin on sort of getting that team to where he believes they can take them.
And I think he has. To be fair, they've been quite consistent. When we were at Brighton, they were playing Spurs, and if they had won, they would have gone above us, and they were 2-0 up. And I know that they were then saying how frustrated they were that they ended up conceding 2 goals. But Spurs are a good little team as well, even though we've put them to the sword a couple of times.
Like players like Rihanna Dean and I mean, I can see those sort of players possibly moving to a higher opposition, because
but they'd have to sit on the bench probably for well, I could see Rihanna Dean. I'd have Rihanna Dean now over Jane Ross, but then I think if we want to finish third, is Rihanna Dean the kind of striker that's going to take us there?
Yeah,
she might win a little cup. She might, if we look of the draw kind of thing. That's why I'm thinking. Reese has just popped up and said, "Do you think Batchman would take West Ham?" If she, but I think she's leaving. Period.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any question. But
I think it would be a good move for Batman to get out of Chelsea, regardless. To be honest, I think she'll want to stay in the WSL because obviously it works well for her in terms of her personal life. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But she should be playing football. She's a quality player. Be that West Ham, be that United. I don't know, but yeah, I think she's that type of player that wants to be playing. She deserves to be playing. She's a quality player. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens with that come the summer.
But I mean, Reese is going to get upset with me now, but I'd take Batman, and I'd go over and take. I know it doesn't work like this, Reese. Don't get upset. But Alicia as well. Just bring them both up as a package. Come on, where's our house? In Salford Keys. Let's go. We've got houses about United. Obviously, Jackie, Mary, they're living in some nice flats.
Well, when I spoke to Reese in the week last week, she's been one of my standout players for West Ham this season. She's come on leaps and bounds this season for West Ham, and she's really sort of having an impact on their squad. So she's definitely one to watch in terms of. I mean, West Ham will be really keen to keep her. So you never know what might happen though.
Wow, everyone's just. I don't know if this is I don't know, but people are saying there's no sound. I don't know what this is. Can you hear us? I can hear you, Emma.
I can hear you.
I don't know. I don't know why everyone's jumped this craziness, but there's more views. Yeah, Batman, I think that'll be good for us. I want harder. Though. Oh, when you're saying you can hear both of us. Ella's saying you can hear both of us. I don't know what this is. I want harder. That's all. That's what I want. And I just think we should get her. Any more?
Now going with being optimistic, mate.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to call it a day, Emma, because these comments are going, I don't even know what it is.
Right, no worries.
But yeah, thanks for coming on.
All right,
and share it out. See you later.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
What the fuck?